If you're really good at the old stuff, that's great, but so are lots of other people because it's old, because people have been doing it for a really long time. You are a dime a dozen.
Whether you're developing a new student housing community or acquiring an existing one, fast and reliable internet isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. But when it comes to serving college students, standard telco providers often fall short on both performance and support. Don't risk a frustrating experience for you and your residents. Choose Campus Technologies, a provider with nearly 25 years of expertise in delivering top-tier internet infrastructure and exceptional customer service for student housing nationwide. Beyond high-speed wired and wireless internet, Campus Technologies also offers managed IT services to keep your property management team running smoothly at their properties. Even if you're not currently in the market for a provider, you need to know the best practices for upgrading your property's internet infrastructure. Download their latest white paper today. You can find the link in the show notes or visit campustechnologies.com. Well, welcome to the Student Housing Insight Podcast. I'm your host, Wesley Dees. This is the podcast that puts you in touch with the people who bring student housing to life. This is also our fifth and final installment of John Barr's Student Housing Insight Tough Talks, also known as Shit Talks, which is a project. John is one of our SHI ambassadors, and SHI Talks are one of our content projects that he is working with Courtney Daisy from Core Spaces with. That she's also a SHI ambassador, and she had this fantastic idea of doing some man on the street type of interviews at conferences and stuff. And John just took that to a whole nother level and did like full interviews with folks at Interface. And I was like, I can't cut this up into little, shorts. Like these are fantastic perspectives and insights from these folks. We got to release the full interviews. So that's what June and July have been about at the Student Housing Insight Podcast. If you haven't caught the previous episodes, make sure you go back and check those. They started at the 1st of June. John, thanks for being my co-host once again. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to wrap this up for y'all. I had a blast doing this, and I feel like there's going to be more to come from this from after doing this. These turned out too good for me to just like stop. So I may be on the hook for a long time with Wes doing these for you.
Yeah. No, you're a natural, and would love to have you doing these interviews. They're fantastic, absolutely fantastic. But for those that don't know you, John Barr at Dinerstein Companies, you're the director of leasing and innovation. What are you guys innovating right now?
Right now, I think one of the coolest things that we're looking into when it comes to AI is resident concierge services through AI. Really, I think there's some stats out there about a lot of residents. There's no touch point after they move in. There's a few surveys that go out. You have the service request. But like if I have nothing really going on in my apartment other than when you call me to renew, how do we know what's going on with you unless we proactively reach out? And who has the time on site to do that? Found a couple of groups that are working on just proactively. It's an AI that proactively reaches out and gives some really cool insights onto what's going on at your asset. So that's probably what I'm most excited about right now. We've started a pilot. I'm starting to see some really cool stats come back on that. And hopefully, as I've mentioned in my previous ones, start with student and roll that out to the rest of our conventional portfolio and our built-to-rent portfolio.
Well, I'm excited to talk innovation with you today because we're talking about Elise AI, and specifically we're talking with Jacob Kosior. He was one of the folks that you interviewed. Jacob actually used to work at Dinerstein. I think maybe he may be a little responsible for getting you to Dinerstein, if my memory serves me correct. But we'll talk a little bit more about Jacob, or we'll have that interview with Jacob in a minute, I should say. But I did a panel at Interface with him 2 years ago. So 2024's interface. So it was really just a year ago, and it was all on centralization. I've told people if they ask me to do another panel on centralization, I'm probably going to pull out my eyeballs and throw it at them because I have talked about specifically about centralization for a while. And honestly, I take it back. It wasn't Jacob that was on the panel, although he's been on some panels that I've done in the past. But it was actually his CEO that was on that panel, and it's kind of funny. There's been a couple of folks, and I'll put Aaron in that. Aaron Bailey, who has also been a part of this series that you've done, but she's also a colleague of yours at Dinerstein and runs everything on the management side. And her and a couple of other people I would put into this classification that they were obviously very curious about AI and what it would do, but they were really scared in the conversations I had with them of what that was going to do, even after COVID, what that was going to do with the human touch and the human relationships that, is such an important process of anybody making a buying decision. And I think have you guys rolled Elise AI out at all of your properties or?
Yes, yes, that's nationwide for student conventional and BTR. That is standard operating of our tech stack. So yeah, it's been funny. It's funny you mentioned that because in vetting an AI partner of who we were going to roll out with, we tested and piloted 100 different softwares. It felt like,
Yeah.
and so we were very selective on who it would be because it's beyond just Aaron, but from a TDC standpoint, like we have owners, our owners didn't necessarily believe in it. And just like this, probably 2 weeks ago, I remember we were sitting in a Monday meeting and Brian Dinerstein, our president, literally go look at the table across from me. He goes, "I'm a believer now." And like it had nothing to do with any of the products that we're currently using. It was like a self anecdotal situation he had with some colleagues, like at a dinner or something like that. And he was like, no. I think it was something about like buying TVs, and like he had Chat GBT run a cost analysis of where to get the cheapest TVs for his house, blah, blah. And he was like, yeah, it had all that. And I was like, it automates a lot of the stuff that would have taken you hours and time thinking. Like that's the purpose of it. However, AI is not going to install the TVs for you. AI is not going to buy the TVs for you. There's a lot of human touch points of like what you still have to go through. So it's funny. It's to see that transition from our company alone of really using AI as a tool that helps empower people is what we're using it for, not allowing AI to be the sole source of communication.
So I've got to ask you, Elise AI aside, I think what they're doing and a lot of other companies that are either implementing AI or coming out with AI agents, I've seen a lot of stuff, that have shown up in my LinkedIn feed recently on, maintenance specific agents and things like that.
Yeah.
But outside of work life, like personally, are you scared of AI? Because let me tell you, the stuff I've seen lately, I'm like, I don't know what's real anymore.
Yeah. So by nature, I'm just so curious and like just intrigued and like probably too much of an optimist. So I'm not necessarily scared of it. I'm finding, in fact, more in personal life, I'm probably trying to find more ways I'm not implementing AI in my life. I'm like, here's a way I can automate it and not have to do something. I'm like, okay, one thing my wife already gives me a task list. If something can take care of the other mental checklist that I have, great. Then I can just focus on my wife's and she can be happy. So I use it like constantly. The other day, this was for work, but like if anyone's a developer tuning in, one of the things when you get your unit mix, specifically on student, construction will give you it. However, it's built by the unit because they're not, construction is just looking at this is one unit, this is one unit. And so I threw my Excel into Chat GPT and I made it formulate and break it out by individual beds, dictated the space option on it based upon what floor level it was on. It did something that would have taken me mindless work. It had probably taken me 40 minutes to an hour, depending on, I mean, it's 800 beds.
Yeah.
It literally took me 10 seconds. I gave it the precise instructions, and my unit mix was done, ready to go. It was like one of the, and like, I like screamed in my office. I was like, this is what AI is meant for.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think, and look, in the past, it would have either been a 2-day project for you to work through, or, you guys would have to have a analyst, that was on standby to come in and do it. And yeah, I mean, for those kind of things, I think it's fantastic. I saw the Google I/O, keynote or whatever the other day, and man, the stuff that they were coming out with, especially from, because right now it costs like $250 a month, but like you can put in any kind of sentence, statement, scene, to describe a
Mhm.
scene of like a 10-second movie you want to watch, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so you've seen this, right?
Oh yeah. They did it. I saw someone do it with, they put in biblical stories, and it was like it was bizarre, and
Oh yeah.
it looked like that. I think the piece
An
of it was,
interview with Mary or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, it looked real. I would have seen it and been like, oh, maybe they used AI in the background, but like I thought the people were like legitimately real. Like I couldn't
Yeah.
believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. Until Mary pulls the baby up and she's got
Yeah,
7
like
fingers.
okay.
Like, yeah. No, it's fascinating, the world that we live in. And I hope, trust, and pray that we've got really smart people that can not let it run away and take
We're
us all over.
Skynet's going to take over, and
Yeah.
we have Terminator. Like I
Yeah.
mean, it's one or the other.
Well, hey, I want to tee up a little bit more on Jacob. Obviously he's had a great history. I don't know, 12, 14, 15 years, I think, in the industry. And he recently moved over to, I say recently, it's been within the past, I guess, 18 months or so, that he's moved over to the vendor side. And he, I think Elise AI has, from of all the companies that are out there, they made an announcement not too long ago about a big investment that I can't remember which group it was now, but a big investment that was made into what they're doing, and they don't seem like a startup anymore.
No,
Um,
they're
and
big.
yeah, and so, but anything in this, you guys don't just talk about what Elise AI is doing. You guys are kind of talking about, both his history, and some of the things that he's kind of leaning into. What would you say to our audience they need to lean into with this interview?
Yeah, I think definitely anyone that's exploring AI, I think Jacob, for those that have met him, he's a brilliant guy, very, very cool person. But I think he does a really good job. And he actually mentions it specifically that a lot of panels don't talk about this, but it's like the implementation of AI is probably the hardest piece of it. I think there was once a myth out there that, oh, since it's AI, it's plug and play, forget about it. And I think that's farthest from the truth that I could preach to y'all. But I think Jacob does a really good job of kind of breaking down where that struggle in that piece is. I think he even mentions like managers aren't even trained today on like how to adopt AI on the site level. And so, and being clear with like what the company's goals are in regards to AI, to lose a lot of the fear portion of it. I think he does he has probably one of my favorite suggestions for future leaders in our industry of like really how to leave your mark. And with new technology always coming up, regardless if it's AI centralization tools, I think I've talked about it before. There's like there's a sea of product out there. But if you are a young CA or a young manager working on a site, like be one of the first ones to adopt that technology and master it. And that's how you become one of the key people then to go do training. And then training leads to like, oh, now you can do multi-site stuff.
Yeah.
And so it really helps push your career a lot faster if you're one of the first ones to adopt it and are excited to adopt it, because by the time it gets to your site, it's probably been vetted or piloted it multiple times. And so be one of the experts at it. And it's one of the reasons why I have the role I am right now is that I just kind of played in AI and like I'm standing proof of that. And so I think he has some really good nuggets in those two areas.
Well, great. Well, let's get to that interview. Again, this is Jacob Kosior with Elise AI.
Hey everyone, John Barr here again with Student Housing Insights Tough Talks. I'm here with a beloved friend of mine, Jacob Kosior. Jacob, welcome and thank you for joining us
Happy
today.
to be here with you, John. Anything.
Listen, I know we're about to get hot and bothered up in here, and I cannot wait for this. I've saved you for best for last. So
I love it.
So Jacob, I obviously know you. I know what you do, but I would love for you to tell the audience, like, what do you do?
Well, I moved to the dark side. Everybody keeps saying dark side, but I don't know. I think there's dark on both sides of the fence.
Sure.
But
for sure.
Went from 12 years in operations, a lot of it in student housing, to now I'm the vice president of client strategy for Elise AI. What does that mean?
What is like vice president? Like,
exactly.
Tell me more, sir.
I've got a very unique role. I was an Elise AI client myself at 2 different companies, and I was always knocking on the door of the Elise team saying like, hey, what if you built this? What if you had this feature? I was doing client references for them talking about the products. I was going on panels with them. And then our CEO came to me and said, why don't you come join our team? How about you do this with us right now?
You're driving a lot for us right now.
And you know, full disclosure, I was like, I don't know, I'm getting up there a little bit. I don't know if I need to be switching industries right now, let alone switching jobs right now. But I loved the technology. I loved the team. I see where our industry is going right now, and I wanted to be a part of that. So I tell clients outright, I've got the best job at Elise AI, where I get to jump on calls with folks, and whether that's a full team of regional managers or community managers, and talk to them about the product, and really approaching it from an operator's lens. Like the big thing that I've brought in and that I've trained our teams to say is, we can't talk about AI like it's a set it and forget it. It is not a plug integration. It goes live. It's not CoStar. It's not Zillow. It's not just set it and forget it. It's like a new hire, and you have to treat it like a new hire. That you have to train it. It's going to learn from you. It's going to get better over time, just like your new hire. It can be your personal assistant if you tell it what to say. But that's not how we all approach it. And so, my job is, how can we help operators understand the technology? How can they maximize the usage of it? And then I get to travel around the country. I'm in 2 to 4 cities any given week. So don't see home as much as I used to, but even that's been great, because now I get to work with operators large and small. That's just see the spectrum of how our industry is tackling AI right now.
And I love that you going to the dark side, quote unquote. I think what I love about that, though, is that you're, to your point, in a new field that we're now seeing in the industry with AI and centralization. There aren't a lot of operators or previous operators on that side yet. And like, I think for you to be one of the first ones to be a part of that, and specifically with the AI stuff, does help with the conversation, because you can go to, there's companies that have used AI a lot, and there's companies that don't even know how to use AI at all. And like, those are vastly different conversations, but what they can recognize is we've been operators. We know what an on-site day looks like from a conventional or student housing standpoint, and like, you can be that bridge between that gap. So I love that they did that over.
And I realized too, and I try to bring this vibe to the calls, it's just like, nobody's ever trained you how to, how many of us like go to school for what we end up doing? That's a whole other argument right now.
That's
but
another segment.
Like, I'd been working in multifamily for 10 years before I got introduced to AI, and nobody sat me down and was like, here's what an automation really means. This is what a large language model is that's training this. And so I feel like sometimes we'll get on calls with clients and there's just like this hesitancy of like, they don't want to ask questions because they don't want to come off like they don't know. But they shouldn't know, because no one's ever taught them before too. So that's my favorite part of the job too, is just like helping to lower the barriers to be like, we just need some baseline education. And again, I love my role because I feel like the Elise AI team is great about that. Is yes, we have really good technology, but we also have the service and support behind it to say we're the partner that you want to go on this journey with. So it's been great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons why we made this discussion is like, we need some hot takes. And I would love, I know Jacob Kosior, he got some hot takes constantly. So Jacob, what's your hot take on the industry right now?
If you went to any industry conference in like 2022 to 2024, it was all centralization. Centralization this, centralization that. Late 2024, now obviously in 2025, it is AI automation.
Yep.
So these big topics that everybody's talking about, you can't go to a conference or pick up an industry article, open multifamily dive without seeing articles about that. But all of that is actually like the relative easy stuff.
Yeah.
What people are not talking about is what everybody is challenged with, which is the change management. How do I get my on-site teams on board with this new technology? How do I get them over tech fatigue? How do I get my regional managers on board? Because they came from on-site, but they're not using the technology, but they also have to be the ones to explain the technology to their ownership groups.
Yes.
There's just so much change management involved in it. And I think anybody you talk to, when you get down to it, whether it's AI or a new marketing tool or we're changing a policy, it's the change management that's the most difficult stuff.
100%.
And you go to a conference and there is no panel on change management.
No, and I'll say this specifically, like our industry is always changing. Like there's always, and it's like, to your point, it doesn't matter if it's AI, it doesn't matter if it's centralization, it doesn't matter if it's marketing, whatever the case. Like we need to be talking about how things are changing and how we manage the change within our teams before, because like the tech is always going to be there to support. There's a solution out there for everything. Like I truly believe it. But the solutions are only as good as our team members are in using those tools. Yeah. And so my role specifically was made to help deploy AI and centralization tools and future tech. And like that has been so the tech works. It doesn't. There's never been a time where I don't think the tech isn't working. It's how do I get that to translate to rolling out on 60 properties that month or in 1 month or so forth. It's the mass rollout. So I agree with you. I'd love to see more panels that are discussing those topics because I know I'm personally dealing with those all the time.
Yeah. I mean, even outside of technology, I think if you look at one of the surveys I quote a lot was there was a NAA does a survey every year, Voice of the Property Manager, and their 2024 survey, they asked like, what's the most difficult part working on site? And across their survey, number one answer, I think it was like 22% of respondents said that dealing with abusive and aggressive residents was the hardest part of their job.
Yep.
And we've seen that, an uptick in that since 2020. But even that, I'd say that's change management. The nature of the day-to-day job is changing because of the climate around housing and affordability of housing.
Yeah.
And so how are we preparing our teams for that? Like we spend a lot of time on like the tech, how am I going to introduce this to them?
Or the data points of it.
Or the data points or the KPIs, but it's like, I think change management even boils down to like, hey, community managers, your jobs have changed a lot over the past 2 years. Let's talk about that. Let's understand why so that you hear us, that we understand you, but also we need to take a different approach to our work right now because the environment in which we're operating, the tenant base that we're supporting, they are changing as well. And we have to change as part of that.
100%. Well, I think, again, you luckily have a very unique perspective given your career. I feel like you've done everything under the sun when it comes to
a little bit of everything.
You're just like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Let's go for it. So I would love to know, like, in your opinion, what's more challenging to execute, an acquisition or a new development?
Oh, new developments always have a close spot in my heart. I mean, you and I have done some acquisitions together. There's one in particular that comes to mind in a California city that was pretty difficult. But I'd still say new developments.
Okay.
Because it's just like any other business where it's more expensive to go out and get a new customer than to retain an existing one.
Fair.
New development, you have no existing customer. Like you're starting from scratch.
Yep.
So, I mean, obviously flip side of that, like acquisition, you're acquiring a brand that you're inheriting that brand right now, right? And how do you change people's minds? But I'd still say starting scratch with a pile of dirt and trying to paint that dream. And then really hope that it delivers on time.
Just make the date.
Yeah,
just make the date.
Even a day early would be great.
I agree with you because I think that the ramifications of what come along with when you do miss on a new development, and like whether it be construction not hitting a timeline, whether it be you not hitting occupancy goals year one.
Yeah.
No one wants to be sitting in that chair when those things transpire.
Yeah.
Everyone's giving you like a little bit of grace, at least when like, oh, it's okay, you're acquiring, like we're gonna give you some time to build this up and like do the thing. When that August date comes and you're sitting at 12, I sat at 12% occupied.
Oh.
I had to eat that frog for another 12 months. But we filled up the next year, Davis. I'm with you still.
Yeah, acquisition, you could put that banner out front that's like under new management. Yeah. And maybe some people will give you a little bit of a break, but as I was telling you before, my most memorable new development story in Lawrence, Kansas.
Yeah.
We had folks lined up ready to move in. Little did they know that the city was still walking around. We had not gotten our certificate of occupancy yet. And I had a gentleman much smaller than me, come up to me and scream in my face. And can I say?
Yes, please, go.
And told me, and I'm going to do my best. I'm from Chicago, so it's a Midwestern accent, but it was if you thought Black Lives Matter was bad, just wait. Just you wait till we start rioting. And I was like, sir, it is not that heavy. But like, we'll get your daughter and her suitcase in here in just a minute. It's just like, tensions are so high.
So high. Remember when I'm just going to piggyback on this.
Yes, bring it on.
Remember when we opened a deal? Well, no, we didn't open it actually because it was late. And we had an auditorium full of outlined with blue tape squares, piles stacked higher than yourself, and you are a tall man.
Yes.
I wake up at night sometimes and I just envision that auditorium. Like I could still smell what it smells like. I know exactly, like, and I'm talking for 400 residents just sitting there.
Just sitting there, everything, looking tagging everything, boxing it. Can I go on a tangent with this too?
Please.
So we had one of our own conferences 2 weeks ago that it was supposed to be 10 of us going. 7 of them were all flying in from New York. All of their flights were canceled. And so we realized the night before the event, like, oh, there was going to be 10 people running this. Yep. Now it's 3. And so my stress is through the roof. But then I'm laying in bed and I, no joke, thought back to that development that you're talking about. And I was like, if I got through that day, tomorrow's going to be a breeze.
Easy.
So I guess that's the upside of some of these new developments 100%. Is like, hey, those are really tough days. But if you can get through those.
Here's the thing. I think student housing with all of our stories, and like that's the best part about these conferences, like we get to come and relive them because as bad as they are in the moment, I think the growth that comes from them and the battle scars you kind of get from it, that the thick skin that you can handle. Like, I agree with you. It's like, there's times where I'm having a bad day and I'm like, well, it really wasn't as bad as that I've had before. So it'll be okay. Like, this is fine.
Okay.
This is fine.
It just helps put a lot of other things into perspective.
Agreed. Lowers those stress levels for you. So I think for what I would really want to ask you, and I think this is really tailored for our audience that are currently on site. You've been in the industry for a long time, and this is my favorite question here, is knowing what you know now, what advice would you have given yourself when you were just starting out in the industry, or just like a CA or a manager that's like really trying to pave which way they're going to kind of go in this industry?
Yeah. I think 2 things. Number 1, you are always better suited by dabbling in other areas.
Sure.
I went from only doing new developments to then taking on some troubled assets. I started the industry just working in Chicago, and I was like, I need to get outside of Chicago. I need to learn how real estate operates more broadly. So then I was doing new developments, then I moved into challenging assets, then I moved into like a portfolio role, then I moved into a marketing role, then I moved into a centralization role. And this career trajectory that the industry has imposed, where it's leasing agent to assistant manager to community manager to regional manager, I just get a sense that in the past kind of 5 years, that's gone out the door a little bit. That there's new specializations, there's new needs that orgs are feeling. So don't feel like that is the only path. In fact, I think you're better suited, and I'd throw you in that camp too, of like jumping around and doing different things makes you better suited for especially higher level roles where you need that experience doing other things. So definitely that. And I'd say if there is something new that's being rolled out at your organization, be the best person on that new thing.
Yes.
Because what gets you promoted? The folks who know how to do the new stuff. If you're really good at the old stuff, that's great, but so are lots of other people because it's old, because people have been doing it for a really long time. You are a dime a dozen. So if you are waiting to get that promotion because you are really good at a variance report, I mean, that's not old, but like, I say that because I had managers who were like, don't centralize that. I want to do that. I'm good at doing that. And I want to say like, and I learned this from our former boss, Clay Hicks, who instilled in my brain, only do what only you can do.
Yes.
Like community manager, you might want to hold on to that, but pass that off to somebody else so you can go learn a new thing, so you can differentiate yourself. So when that regional manager position does become available, you can differentiate yourself by saying, I actually learned how to, what PPC marketing is right now.
It's really funny that you say that, because I think the disconnect a lot of times when managers either go to corporate or what they envision corporate is like someone sitting there in this golden chair that's just pointing people to do certain things. And where there's some truth in that we are delegating things, we're delegating those things to go do bigger things that you don't want to do, or you can't do, or you don't have the ability to even see the big picture on. And so it starts with, and I loved your point about like the manager loving to do the variance points. If that's something that can be delegated, well, then that frees up your time to go do something bigger for your site, to do something bigger for your team, to be more involved in the leasing process, and to be able to do those those hard closes and jump into because I've been on site and I've been a manager, and I know I never had time to do the things that I wanted to do. I just was doing the things that like, I was like, all right, this is my checkbox. I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But I wasn't always fulfilled because I wasn't making the impact that I knew I was interested in this. I wanted to do this awesome resident event. I didn't have time to do that. And so I 100% agree with you.
And on the flip side, and this is why I love student housing, I'm sure it's the same with you, is like, typically people who are more junior in their career, they might be coming straight out of college for especially like leasing manager type roles. So they're young, they're hungry, they want to learn, they want to be growing themselves. Like, that is the exact audience that you should be saying, like, I've done 300 variance reports in my life. Let me start to train somebody else to do that. So they get those skills, they can develop themselves, but also I'm now freed up to do other things.
100%.
Learn new skills, sit on calls that you wouldn't otherwise be on, just to like grow yourself. If you are not growing yourself, you should not expect somebody else to put you in a position to promote you to grow and do new things if you're not investing in yourself.
Once you get to the next step, it is delegation, so that you can do other things that are also being required. It's actually, you're asking, things are being asked above and below you at the same time. And like, you have to be able to truly delegate below so that you can do the things above. And so it's...
And in the line of like doing new stuff, my past 3 roles, including my current role at Elise, I was the first person in that role. It was a brand new role that was created. I was coming in and doing it for the first time. And man, if I did not know how to learn something very quickly, so I knew how to do it, and then pass it off to someone else and delegate it so they could learn it so I could move on to the next thing, I never would have been able to like move as quickly as I needed to meet the requirements of the job. And so it's just a skill that you have to develop, because as you move up in the org, things only get harder. And so if you are not learning early on how to make things easier for yourself, nobody's going to teach you that, and you are going to plateau because you're not ready for that next step to be able to take on the more work that's inevitably going to fall on your plate.
Did y'all hear that? The higher you go,
oh gosh,
it gets harder. It does not get easier. I had that misconception when I was out of town. You're like, oh, they're not doing nothing up there. And as soon as I got up here, I was like, oh no.
Oh, I'll just go join corporate and sit on calls.
Sign me up to go be a little porter. Porter, leasing agent. Give me some commission.
My next dream is I want to retire early and just go run a coffee shop. Maybe LV Collective will hire me to work in one of their coffee shops on site. That would actually be like a good mending of the world.
Jacob the barista.
Doesn't that sound lovely? That might be too much interaction with people, though. It might be.
No, you don't need a macchiato.
Next.
Well, Jacob, it was great talking to you. It's always a pleasure, and thank you again for doing this for us.
Happy to.
Thank you all for tuning in for Student Housing Insight Tough Talks. I'm John Barr, and we'll catch you later.
Well, again, I really appreciate Jacob giving you the time at Interface for that interview. Yeah, that the kind of last thing he said, if you're not growing yourself, don't expect others to promote you. I think we've got a lot of folks in our audience that I think that they really need to lean into that, because it's if you're looking to grow in this industry, it's not just about relying on technology to make yourself better, but I think it's really also leaning into the relationships that you have
Yes.
within this industry as well.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. It's what has grown your career, Wes. It's what's grown my career. And I think the relationships that we actually build within this industry is like you truly create friendships. It's like more than just camaraderie. It's
Oh
more
yeah.
than just like waving at like a conference. It's like, I see you at a conference. Well, let's go sit down and like have a conversation and catch up. And actually, I want to see how your kids are doing. And that's what makes this industry sticky, and that's what stole both of us from our plans in college to go be teachers, and like stole us this way, because there's just so much passion, or there's so much power within having those personal relationships, and it's how we sign leases. It all interconnects with creating relationships. And I just encourage, like, really our CAs that are tuning, our leasing professionals that are really on the fence of like, am I going to stick into this industry or not? I promise you, it is worth sticking it out, because there's so much to do within this industry. There's so much to learn. I'm learning every day. And again, the relationships you're going to make, like truly, Aaron Bailey and JT Bailey are both two of my best friends that like my kids go over to their house constantly, and like we just hang out. And it's like, that doesn't happen in normal corporate America. Like that doesn't exist. So you can have all that within a fun, high speed rat race of an industry. But like, listen, it keeps you, I will say this, you won't stay young. You get old pretty quick in this industry, but I think the friends is what keeps you in there, and it's worth every second of it.
Yeah. No, it was last week was 30 years ago last week, from the time we're recording this, was my high school graduation. And so we've been getting all this information on the reunion that was coming up, and it happens to be when there's an industry conference. And my wife was like, well, can you get out of it? I'm like, there's more friends at the industry conference than there are from high school. And I felt like I had a lot of friends in high school. So that's a really tough decision to make. So
That's awesome.
So yeah, I completely echo what you're saying there. Well, hey, I want to, number one, thank you, John, for the time you took out at Interface to have all these interviews. This has been a great segment. Looking really forward to what Courtney's going to be putting out with her version of Student Housing Insight Tough Talks. And I appreciate you so much working with her as a mentor this year within our SHI Ambassador Program. And really quick, I mean, because this is the time we start taking applications for folks who want to be part of the Ambassador Program next year. We only select 6 each year. So any kind of thoughts on who ought to, really think about applying for that for next year?
Yeah, I think for, obviously this being my second year in the program, I think I've benefited so much from just the array of people I've met. I thought I knew everyone until I joined this, and then I really knew everyone.
Yeah.
So it's been great. And so we're in this industry, we all can win, especially if we're all talking to each other. We can figure out what are we seeing in San Diego? What are we seeing in these markets? And so I really just encourage those that are like thriving. If you're a new regional, if you're a new, marketing manager, if you're something that's remote and you're looking to get more exposure to what's out there, what the rest of the industry is seeing, I think this is the perfect position to apply for. I think it really gives you some great insight. I think just from the ambassadors themselves, I think you create a really good cohort of people that you can talk to. But then outside of that, from the conferences, talking on this and the material that you have to come up with. I just think it really makes you well-rounded and helps you grow without having to. A lot of times people think growth is a title jump, and it's not. I'm here to be the first one to tell anyone that's tuning in that's not what it is. Growth is finding opportunities to be more self-aware of what's going on in the surroundings around you and like how to make strategic decisions. And so I think this is the perfect program, and encourage anyone that's looking to grow professionally, like, to join this, because I think it opens up doors and opportunities for you. Because when I started, Wes, I wasn't the director of leasing and innovation. A lot of that kind of was the genesis of allowing me to meet people and see what was going on in the AI space to then start diving further into it.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great recommendation. And yeah, we'll start setting that up typically in October. There's, in this industry, there's so many changes that happen after move-in day, professionally. And a lot of people, kind of finding maybe their new career home and that type of thing. So we typically put out about 1st of October. We'll put something on our website for folks that are interested in joining for 2026. It is a calendar year program. Couple of quick things. We've got Shop Talk coming up. If you haven't joined a Shop Talk before, that's our monthly webinar that we provide. You can go to shoptalk.info and get more information and register for that. Also, July 30th, for those of you that are not fully chained to Turn, there is a BizNow student housing summit that's happening in Atlanta for folks that are in Atlanta or have properties in that area. Go check that out. You can find that at our events page as well as get a discount code. So just go to studenthousinginsight.com and click on our events. And I won't get into a long description about it right now, but we've got our Top Golf mixer that we're doing at NMHC's student housing conference that will be in Scottsdale. That's October 21st is the night of that event. So if you're going to be at NMHC's conference, we'll have a link there on the website as well. But if you're going to be there, make sure that you register or reach out to us about either sponsorship or attending the Top Golf Mixer. It will be a fundraiser for the How Are You project in Austin, which provides a lot of resources to the industry regarding college students' mental wellness, as well as, for our staff on how they help, their residents with mental wellness. So lots of things coming up. John, thanks so much. It's been great working with you on this project, and thank you so much.
Yeah, it was my pleasure, y'all. And I hope everyone enjoyed, and hopefully I'm back for some more.
All right. Have a good turn.